Because previously, we didn't know who was sitting on what. Well, broad range, we didn't know who was sitting on what. So we wanted to make sure we're demystifying that process a little bit more and being more transparent about who's sitting on what committee and where they're going. That also helps with our final point that I have here. I know I've done a lot of talking with the external committee reports. If you sit on an external committee, you are required to fill out the report for that particular committee meeting. I've explained this before, but essentially, if you click the link, they'll take you to a file or folder, essentially, with a bunch of other folders. So you're able to put the report that you have for the committee, and there's a template in there as well. Put that report within the corresponding folder. So right now we're in January, so you put it in the January 2021 folder for your meeting report. So I'm going to start emailing folks like after your meetings to make sure that you're putting your reports in there. And essentially, we want these reports so we all know what's happening in these committees, because previously we have folks that sit on committees and then we don't really know what's happening within them. So we're trying to, of course, like I say, demystify that process. So see what's going on in these committees. I know that's a lot of talking. If anyone has any questions, just let me know. I'm always available to answer them for you. But with that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chandler. Next, we have Paloma, who is our Programming Service and Recruitment Chair.
Hello, everybody. So, happy New Year, first of all. It's been a few months. The first event that we have going on is our January blood drive event. This will be on Monday 25th and Tuesday 26th, so a week from now, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you can find the sign-up sheets here in this here in our Senate agenda where Rio is showing. And this will be, as always, at Ruder Plaza at Donor Coach. Any questions, let me know. But this is pretty much like the past blood drive we have. And the next positive picture, that's our next event. We were trying to get it done by the beginning of the semester, so like have it ready today, but I know the break, distanced us all. So we're extending our due date for February 5th, so the first Friday of February. And we would like you guys to send us a picture with a positive word that relates to your graduate experience or your professional student experience at Texas A&M. And then we'll make a collage and we'll display it in our social media, in our website, collage like this one that Rio is showing. Thank you so much. And this hopefully will help us lift the spirits from this past 2020 and look for a brighter 2021. So yeah, join us. Send me your positive pictures at my email here listed by February 5th, please. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Paloma. With that, we could move to RK, who is our Awards and Professional Development Chair.
Howdy all. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. The spring virtual conference awards are open now, and the deadline for the awards is Feb 8th. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to switch this, maybe 10 minutes, I think 10 minutes. We'll stick with 10 minutes for now, because we have 2 resolutions. We are going to go into that phase of the meeting where we have the committee breakouts. And when we do this, I ask that you all please stay in the meeting and come back to the group with everyone else, because we want to be able to move on to these next 2 orders of business here. So I saw that a lot of you renamed yourselves. Thank you. I'm going to create the breakout rooms. And for those of you who are still lingering in here, I will assign you to your proper breakout room. And in the chat, I will message you the time that we'll be coming back. So please bear with us for just a second. All right, to the folks who are still in here, are you familiar with which committees you're serving on? Whether it's advocacy, scholarship, or community?
Scholarship for me.
Oh, okay, I see you. Thank you.
Scholarship for me as well.
Scholarship as well.
Thank you. Who was it that said community?
That was me.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in community as well.
I'm in advocacy.
Thanks, Ashlyn. Genevieve? Do
I'm
you,
here for Zach Weiss
oh, okay.
from Animal Science.
Okay, thank you. Do you know which committee Zach is in?
I do not, unfortunately. He got deployed, so I'm here.
Oh, wow, okay. I will check real quick. Genevieve, Zach is in advocacy, so I'm going to send you there now.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, hello everybody. I hope the meetings went well. We are going to pick up on old business, which was a previous resolution from our meeting in November about waiving commencement fees for graduate and professional students. The last action on this resolution was to send it back to the community committee for further work, as we could not come to the Senate body could not come to a complete agreement on the language of it. It has since been revised over the break, and I will share my screen and have Paloma introduce it again.
Thank you for giving me this time. So this resolution is in support of waiving commencement fees for graduate and professional students. This is introduced by Nicholas Farmer, Senator, Department of Plant Pathology and Microbiology, sponsored by myself. And I'll start reading first, whereas the Office of Graduate and Professional Studies, OGAP, charges a processing fee for the written thesis dissertation approval form of either $110 for masters or $170 for doctoral students. Professional students applying for graduation are assessed a minimum fee of $47.50, which increases to $100 if they attend a Texas A&M University, Baylor College of Dentistry, Irma, Lerma, Rangel College of Pharmacy, College of Medicine, College of Nursing, or College of Public Health. And whereas other state institutions such as Texas Tech University and the University of Texas at Austin charge $50 and $8 for their graduate students' thesis dissertation processing, respectively. And whereas GPSG acknowledges that OGAPS recently enhanced the graduate student experience by expanding the tuition mandate for all PhD students employed in graduate assistant positions. And whereas graduate students receive between $15,000 and up to $30,000 in annual compensation compared to the nation's mean annual income of $52,000. And whereas many graduate students report working in excess of 40 hours per week between their coursework, research, and work duties, let it be resolved, GPSG supports waiving the fees required to process the written thesis dissertation approval form for master and PhD students, along with any graduation fees assessed for professional students. And let it be resolved, a copy of this resolution shall be posted and delivered to the following individuals.
Thank you, Paloma. And folks, I want to point out, while I have the screen shared here, some of you may remember this graphic. This is the modus operandi for the resolutions that we bring to the floor and how we pass them. So right now we're in stage 1. Paloma just read it. So at this stage, only questions are accepted for the resolution. And after all the questions are asked, if there are any, at that point, a senator can make a motion to consider the resolution and move it to the floor. So they would say, I move that we consider this resolution for debate. Okay, with that, please press Alt-Y if you have any questions for Paloma regarding the resolution that she just read. You may also unmute if I'm not able to see. Megan from the Advocacy Committee. You raised your hand, you may speak.
I don't have a Mac. I was really trying to figure out what the Alt button was on my on my computer there.
Oh, yes, my bad.
But we're good. Are we suggesting anywhere like just to waive the fees, or that someone else should cover them? Like that we should just get rid of them entirely, or that they should be covered by a department, the school, like or that the university should just not have them whatsoever?
Thank you for that question, Megan. We are saying that the university waives them completely. we're asking for the university to waive them completely. The strategy behind this is to, as it was suggested by other commenters, reviewers, helpers, to ask for as much as possible and see what we're able to get. So the most is to simply say to get these fees waived.
Makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Any other senators are welcome to raise their hand. And if there are no further questions, then someone may move to consider the resolution put on the floor. Oh, I see 2 people raise their hands. I cannot see their names though. One of you is welcome to unmute and talk.
This is Aaron Bonnet, Info Department. I have a question about, you said other schools have a reduced fee lower than A&M's, or are they waiving their fees as what you're trying to get out of this resolution?
So thank you for your question, Aaron. Some institutions are charging a lot less for these thesis dissertation processing fees, which are different from like, I believe the other one is diploma fee. We're not waiving that one. Diploma fee is, I think, $47 or $40 something. So we're asking, so we're still paying, we're not only paying for thesis dissertation processing, we're also paying for diploma fees. And so we're asking to be waived. We still would have to pay diploma fees, which are, again, something around 40 something or something. I can't tell you right now exactly. But yeah, and I have seen other institutions that actually don't charge anything for thesis dissertation processing, especially, but these weren't Texas State universities. I was trying to only provide examples in whereas number 2 from Texas, like state universities. And so we're asking for the thesis dissertation processing fees to be completely waived because we still would have to pay diploma fees, which these other institutions don't pay for. So yeah, that's where those numbers and that reasoning come from.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both for your questions so far. We have time for one more. Otherwise, someone may move the resolution to the floor. Do we have any takers?
I move to push this motion to the floor.
I second that motion.
Thank you both. All in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 So good to hear you all again. Anybody opposed? And abstentions? Okay, we're now entering phase 2. The resolution has been moved to the floor. In this phase, the person who introduced the resolution will speak again. That is Paloma. She may make the case once more for why this resolution should be passed. Similarly to the last stage, folks who want to speak can press Alt-Y or the Mac equivalent to raise their hands. And at this point, we'll be accepting motions, whether it's to amend the resolution, to table it once more, refer it back to a committee, or to do other things that Nathan will help us with if needed. When this is complete, a senator may move to close the debate, and we will go to the voting part. With that, Paloma, the floor is back to you.
Thank you, Rio. Well, simply, I think the dissertation thesis processing fees should be waived because by looking at other Texas state and also other nationwide schools, they're paying a lot less than us. And again, some of them even don't pay any processing fees. So again, we already are gonna, I'm keeping the diploma fee. I've seen diploma fees more off. Like I've seen that fee repeatedly, and why not? But I think that thesis dissertation processing fee, I think is very unfair. That it's not only the thesis processing dissertation fee. That it is very unfair because we're already like we spent over 5 years or whatever it takes us to work in our thesis. This is stuff that costs us money already. It costs us money to be doing this, to live, to do all the things we do for our research, etc. We're already spending, and not only money, but spending our livelihood on it. So I think it's very unfair that on top of that, they're charging us to processing fees for something that we've created. That's our pain and sacrifice. And so I think this is an unfair fee. In comparing to other schools, again, our fee is very high. And so, yeah, I think this is why I think this resolution should be passed.
Thank you, Paloma. Other folks who wish to share, remember to press Alt-Y or the Mac equivalent. Aaron, I see your hand raised again. Was this from last time, or do you have something else to share?
No, I do have another question or point. Would it be possible to get a breakdown from OGAPS of what exactly the processing fee is so that we have an idea of what exactly this fee is going towards? And that way we have a more realistic understanding of what it should cost
The
versus what they're
processing fee is administrative, Aaron. It's simply we're submitting our thesis, our dissertation into like the software or whatever, and that is an administrative fee basically, and that goes on top of the diploma fee. And I'm trying to have, because I had a friend send me her how much she paid for all her stuff. So yeah, that dissertation fee is basically an administrative fee, and all that information you can find it in the link that I provided. So if you go to the link number 1, 2, and 3, everything is broken down there of where that money is going and why.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Before the next person with their hand raised chimes in, I want to remind everyone that we do have another resolution after this one. So for the sake of time, we don't want to spend too much time in debate. I see 2 hands raised. I believe we have time for 2 questions. So whoever raised after Aaron is welcome to unmute and speak.
I think it was me, so I'll go ahead and speak up. So I guess I don't know if it's a question or just kind of just thoughts. I'd really want to know how much of OGAPS's income this fee makes up. And if this fee suddenly goes away and there's not some sort of mechanism for them to recoup those funds from departments somehow, how will that then impact us, right? So if they have to, lay off staff and then our processing times get even longer, that's a problem for us. If they're not reviewing things as carefully before they go into public record when they get published, that's a problem for us too. So that's kind of one thought that I don't know how. I agree that we shouldn't have to pay for it, but based on like how A&M has set up their hierarchy of how things should be funded, us taking this away somehow from OGAPS might have implications for hurting us later on down the line. And I guess the other thing, I know we may vote on the resolution today, but something else that if it does get revised again, you might consider is looking at the list of peer institutions. So not just these 2 schools in Texas, but there's like 20 that A&M is listed as what they call peer institutions in their Vision 2020. And so you can actually look at that and then compare, are we higher than 19 of our 20 peer institutions? Or did you just kind of like, I'm not accusing you of this, but they might say that you cherry picked like these 2 schools that we happen to be much higher than, but all of our other peer institutions are much higher. You know what I mean? So I guess those are just kind of a couple of thoughts that I have on it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your comment. I honestly don't know how this would impact us. Honestly, resolutions are not set in stone as much as we want them to really have an impact. We many times, the university at the end of the day and these officers at the end of the day are just could be like, well, this is not viable. We're not doing this. Point period. So before it would affect us in any way, before them firing people because of our resolution, I wish we had that much power to make these huge changes. Not that they fired people, that we had this power to make all these changes, but at the end of the day, we are just simply suggesting these changes. They're not going to fire people because of our resolutions. And there are many times our resolutions, if it's not in the best interest, it might not go through. Or and again, anybody who wants to also add to this information, again, resos, we are trying to make a change, but many times it's going to get to these offices and they're going to be like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense, or this is not viable, done. So this, again, these resolutions are not set in stone. They're suggestions that we make for change. And I was not cherry picking on choosing these two institutions. Believe it or not, it has taken me a few months to find information about dissertation and fees and processing fees of this kind. It's very difficult. I've had many people ask for this, even in other, I've had people asking forums of graduate students, and many of them, they're not able, most of them, no one really had was able to give me a source, because again, we have to provide sources with our statements, and many of them would tell me, oh, we don't have to pay anything, but then they wouldn't be able to find me a source where I can write this source next to my statement. So this information is somewhat hidden, to be honest. It's hard to find. And if you would like to work with me on this resolution and provide and find this information for me, I'll be happy to also include this. But again, first thing, we don't have such much power to get people fired, locally or sadly, I don't know. And second, if you think you can find me better information to it, I'll be happy to include it. But again, this has been on the works for a few months, and this information, for some reason, is very hidden from us. It's not as easy to us.
Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't, for some reason, my computer is not letting me raise my hand. But I wanted to say, basically edifying what you were talking on. Whenever we present this resolution to them, they would have to disclose a lot of information to validate the reasoning behind it being so high. And we didn't cherry pick. I can guarantee you we didn't cherry pick. We literally asked a lot of our peers that are at different universities that either recently graduated or are about to graduate. So basically, we went out of our way to try to find any information we could get. But as she said, a lot of it is really inaccessible. And that probably is because of a concerted effort rather than just a random anomaly or whatever. So whenever we do get this resolution to them, because it doesn't really make sense that the people that are writing these things, and I believe they also get the copyright as well as a university. So they own something, but they're making us write it, get it reviewed and submitted a lot of times by because a lot of these times, like, it's actually different works of ours that are in different publications. So now we have to go back, and after we've written it, we have to pay for them to own it. So it seems a little bit unfair that they'd be putting the burden of all of the work on us while they get to own the product.
Just want to clarify that you do actually own the copyright to your own thesis or dissertation.
You get to keep the copyright? Okay.
According to the OGAP's website, you own the copyright. I think most of the fees are associated with the general processing and to host it basically on the electronic, like through ProQuest. So I think A&M has some control over those fees, but I think a portion of it is what ProQuest and the other electronic actual systems that host it and keep digital record of the study charge the university. So there's definitely probably some wiggle room there, but that is definitely where some of the fees come from. That is out of the control of OGAPS or the university at all.
Okay, folks, I'm interjecting. Thank you all very much for the discussion. I want to remind everyone, please, if you want to talk, Alt-Y before you unmute and chime in. It's just to maintain order with this. But at this point, I am going to suggest that we move on to stage 3, move to close the debate. Is there a senator who would like to do that? And at that point, we would go into stage 3, which is the voting stage.
I'll move to close.
Second.
Thank you both. And all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you, folks. And all opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The debate is closed. And I did not mean to monopolize the process here, but we want to make sure we have time for everything tonight. With this, I ask the question, are you ready for the question? And if nobody objects, then we can open up a vote. And Nathan can correct me if I'm wrong on that. So, are you ready for the question? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, then the vote may commence. Now with this, I'm going to direct you to the agenda. At the bottom, we have these nifty voting forms. Aaron, we're not hearing you, sir. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Nathan, I think your connection, or sorry, Aaron, I think your connection wasn't working, sir.
I would say try to type it in the chat box if you're still trying to say something.
Andrea, the chat shows it's disabled for me, so
I've just enabled it, so Aaron is welcome to type. While that's happening, we have the voting forms at the bottom of our agenda. I'd navigate you to voting form 1 to submit whether you want to approve or deny the resolution. Nathan?
Yes. Did you need me for?
Yes, so we're free to open up the vote now.
Yeah, once you call the question, there's no objections. The vote is open. Yes.
Okay, folks, on the agenda, voting form 1, please navigate to it and cast your vote either in favor or opposed to this resolution in support of waiving commencement fees for graduate and professional students. And Rohan will keep us apprised of what that results in.
It's Rio. Please leave a message.
I'm not sure who tried calling me, but I'm right here.
I guess everyone has voted. I don't see the counter moving. Is there anyone left to vote?
How's it looking, Rohan?
Yeah, so far we have had 64 responses, and
Okay.
I don't see the counter moving for quite some time. I assume that everyone has voted. We have 57 yes, 5 no, and 2 abstain.
Then with that, the resolution passes. In support of waiving commencement fees for graduate and professional students, this is resolution number 5 of the session, and I will submit it to the folks on this list. I will revise because President Young is no longer here, as well as Dr. Fierke. We'll fix that and send this off. Thank you all to everybody who voted and for the
Thank you, guys.
discussion. Good. And thank you, Paloma, for introducing it. Next, it's optimistic to think that we could get this done tonight, but we're going to see what we can do. This next order of business is GPSGR 54.06. It's regarding the fee caps. Rohan mentioned this briefly in the meeting minutes from our previous meeting. So if you want to refer back to those in the agenda to get the specific numbers, you can. This is a resolution introduced by Stacy Wren from the Health and Kinesiology Department, as well as Anna Armstrong, who's sponsoring it. And with this resolution, this refers specifically to the fees for the fee caps that are going to be raised for the SHS, Student Health Center, as well as the University Complex fee. And they will provide us just a bit more information. It was drawn to my attention that I skipped CJ earlier, and he has something important to add about the Texas legislative session, which relates to this resolution. So CJ, you are welcome to speak.
Cool. Howdy, everyone. So for those of you unfamiliar with the way the Texas legislature works, they meet every 2 years as opposed to like a regular session that the National Congress does. And we happen to be in the middle of one of those special 2 years, or however you want to phrase that. Nothing super exciting has happened yet. I've been watching a few different places to keep track. But there are lots of interesting things coming up on the docket. There's going to be voting district redistricting this year. Lots of talk about education budgets, specifically in the face of the pandemic. I'll make sure to keep monitoring all of that for y'all, let y'all know if I hear anything. And if you want more information on places you can also stay up to date or follow developments, just let me know, shoot me an email or over group me, and I will direct you to those places.
Thank you, CJ. And this resolution is time sensitive in that the Texas legislature has to approve any increases to mandatory fee caps. So the 2 fee caps that we were presented on by the SHS and University Center, both of those fall under the Texas legislature's authority to increase. And I think as of right now, the SGA has voted in favor of raising the caps to their proposed numbers that they have, as well as the Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board, SAFAB. So both of them have voted in favor of it, and they're asking for our input now. So with that, I will turn the floor over to Stacy, who will read the resolution.
Awesome, thank you. All right, everybody. This is a resolution regarding fee caps for Texas A&M students, introduced by myself, sponsored by Anna Armstrong. All right, so whereas on November 17th, 2020, representatives from Student Health Services and from University Center and Special Events appealed to graduate student body for support and raising the caps on their mandatory fees. Whereas Student Health Services seeks to increase the health center fee cap from $75 to $200 per student for each regular semester, while also increasing the cap from $25 to $100 during summer terms. And whereas the current $75 health center fee provides about 60% of the budget For student health services, the rest of their budget comes from charges passed on to students receiving care from SHS. And whereas University Center and Special Events seeks to increase the Student Center Complex fee cap from $100 to $200 per student for each regular semester, while also increasing the cap from $50 to $100 during summer terms. And whereas while the first $40 of every Student Center Complex fee collected goes towards utilities, upkeep, and compensation packages for 46 full-time staff and approximately 150 student workers, the rest goes towards renovation projects throughout the facilities of Rutter Hall, Rutter Theater Complex, Coldus, and the Memorial Student Center. And whereas since the Texas State Legislature determines the caps for the health center fee and the student center complex fee, any proposed changes to the caps require the support of the Texas A&M student body. And whereas the university's proposed changes to the fee caps have received endorsements from the Texas A&M Student Government Association as well as the Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board. Let it be resolved, and we left those two blank because there might be differences. Rio, do you want to explain that one a little bit better than I do? There might be like something that we write differently in terms of what we want for the fees as it served for either the student health services and the university center and special events. That kind of.
Absolutely. So thank you, Stacy, for reading that. And you are absolutely right. There are two big pieces to this bill, the SHS piece and the University Center piece. Whether the Senate votes to support both, one, or neither is up to them. And that's why we left the let it be resolved blank. That's the easiest, most efficient way to do it with the time that we have. Folks, it is 6:43. So like I said, it's optimistic to think that we'll be able to finish it tonight, but we will do our best. We are in stage one. Does anybody have questions for Stacy about this resolution and what it means?
I think Megan has her hand up. I don't know.
I apologize, Megan. I don't see your hand raised.
I do not have my hand.
Does anybody have any questions whatsoever? Okay. Would anybody like to move to consider this resolution?
I move to consider it.
Second.
Thank you both. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed and abstentions? We are bringing the resolution to the floor for debate. Stacy, what else would you like to say about this resolution and the stance that the student body should take?
I think that a lot of the points that they made in both of their presentations were very valid, one of which that the University Center lost over $2.2 million from March to December due to COVID-19. And so I really would hate to see a lot of the awesome things that the university does for its students start to disappear over even the next few years because of budget cuts this year. So that, as well as Butyl, there are a lot of things that Butyl does for students in terms of services, and they are very affordable because of these fees and many other things as well. But I can say from personal experience that some of the services that I've received at Butyl have been 5 to 6 times more expensive outside of Butyl and our student healthcare services. So that's basically my tie in a bow.
Thank you, Stacy. For the sake of time, I'll remind folks to please be brief when you're sharing your points. We're going to try to have discussion on this resolution closed in maybe 7 or 8 minutes if possible. So I'm trying to give some time for other ideas to be here. But before we move to stage 3, we will have to make an amendment to the resolution on which pieces you'd like to support or not support, etc. So with that, please Alt-Y if you have anything else to add. I see 3 hands raised. Cannot see the names.
Josh was first, Rio.
Thank you, Nathan. Josh, the floor is yours.
I guess I have kind of one concern about this, and it's basically that the fee caps are being nearly doubled. I do understand that there are other processes that the groups have to go through to actually increase the fee, and that, you know, they're probably doubling their fee cap because the Texas legislature can be difficult to get things through. But with tuition constantly increasing and the cost of college already being so high, it is slightly concerning to double student fees in these circumstances.
Right, that's a great point. But when it was mentioned, these fees, and also Rohan mentioned this earlier, these fees are on a sliding scale, so we don't have to immediately go to that 200 point. This is so we can become a little bit more comfortable with the deficits that COVID has created, as well as making sure that we can keep the same amount of high-level services to students.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I think the end point is that these fees will reach the fee cap.
Can we take this pause here real quick? Josh and Stacy. So Stacy, you don't need to reply to everybody. It is just an open debate to let people speak. And people, once you've spoken, you need to be recognized again by the speaker before you speak again. So the next person who is on the list is Catherine to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. I believe that was Alex who had their hand raised next.
Hi, Alex, me? I'm sorry. Alex Blanchette.
Yes, I see your hand raised. You're recognized.
Okay. Thank you. I kind of want to go along with that point as well, because of the university losing money here is of course a problem and something that could affect the services in which they provide. But this is also a large economic downturn for the students, I could imagine, as well. So I guess I'm conflicted in raising these caps and potentially passing off a lot of that cost that the university tries to make up to the students who likely don't have as many resources to address those caps as, maybe from other sources. But that's my thought. Thank you.
Okay, again, we are going to conclude discussion, and I'm going to say 4 minutes. So I think we have time for maybe 2 more people to speak. I see hands raised. Nathan, do you have an idea of who's next?
Yeah, Catherine has been waiting next.
Okay.
And then I'll let Stefan.
Catherine, thanks for waiting. You got it.
No problem. So Catherine Brooks here from Anthropology. I share some of the same concerns as the 2 previous senators. These seem like very significant increases in fees, and given the amount of money that A&M pours into its sports and its complexes and things that don't directly affect student experience, I feel like this is a lot to put on the shoulders of students who may not have the monetary resources to catch up with that. And everyone has been affected by the pandemic, not just universities, and they as a system have much more resources than us as individuals do.
Thank you for sharing. Stephen is next.
Thanks, Rio. I would just wonder, and this could be to Shelley or possibly to Uchaj or anyone else on the governing committee, what kind do graduate students have a substantive voice when these fee raises actually happen? Right? I know we're giving leeway for them to possibly have that discussion, but if grad students have a substantive voice when it actually comes to making the changes, that's when we'd be able to intervene and stop that from happening. I think that just saying no to the caps overall might be kind of shutting down that discussion from even happening.
Okay. Rio, can I answer that, or should I?
My boss, you have permission.
So yeah, no, as far as decisions and all those things goes, yes, we definitely have a say, and we definitely have a say. I mean, to put it simply, I'm just trying to think through deeply, just in case that's not the case. But yeah, we do definitely have the say. We sit on these, we sit on all these external committees, so there is no hindrance from that point of view.
Utej, thank you for sharing. Quentin, you have the last word for this part. So the floor is yours.
I'm the porter here. Basically, I was wondering if we get a quick answer to, are they raising it to $200 or are they raising the cap to $200? Like the fee that we would see in the next year is never going to be, I feel like they said something about only being able to raise like in $5 or $10 increments a year. So it's not like we're going to set from 75 to 200. The cap is, right?
Right. The cap is going to $200. So that would be assessed at a later date.
Okay. So this is just so that next time they have a meeting, they could actually vote to increase it because there's actually room to increase it too.
Right. There's room for fluctuation.
All right. That's all I really wanted clarification on.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for the good discussion, for keeping it friendly. Again, since this resolution does not have a let it be resolved statement yet, now is the time to make an amendment to decide what we want to do. So with that, a senator may move at this point to amend the let it be resolved statement in favor of what the student body has discussed here in the Senate. Ideally, it will reflect what we've discussed. Does anybody want to write the let it be resolved statement? If there's confusion as to what this is, it will say, let it be resolved, the graduate and professional student government supports or opposes XYZ. That's to get you started.
Can I just say it and you type it?
You would have to make the move and then there'd have to be seconds.
I move to amend the resolution that the GPSG does not approve either of the caps.
Okay, with that, are there any seconds?
Alex Blanchett, Toxicology. I second this motion.
Now, since this is a particularly, this is an important motion that we're making, I want to direct everybody to voting form number 2 in the Senate agenda. We'll see it at the bottom here. If the majority votes for this, then the motion will pass and we will put that in the let it be resolved statement. And Rohan will keep us apprised.
Please restate what the motion is so everybody knows what they're voting on exactly.
Thank you, Nathan. Voting form number 2. The statement is to add in the let it be resolved statement that the GPSG does not support raising the caps for both the SHS and the University Center complex fee. If that is something you support or oppose, please cast your vote accordingly in voting form number 2. And it will be added to the resolution.
Rio, there's a request that you repeat what a yes vote would mean and what would they be supporting?
Thank you. A yes vote on this form, voting form number 2, would mean that you support adding the following phrase to the resolution. And that phrase would be here on the screen. And it would be that the GPSG does not support raising fee caps. If you believe that we should not raise the fee caps for both SHS and the University Center, you would vote yes on voting form number 2. If you disagree, then you would vote the other way.
Rio, in the last form, we had 64 votes. In this form, we have 61, and I'm not seeing the counter moving. So is there anyone left to vote? I guess not. So the response is the total number of votes that we have is 61. 38 are in support, 19 are not in support, and 4 abstains.
With that, the majority ruled that the motion passes and that that phrase would be added to the let it be resolved statement. And I will type that below.
And just a reminder, we will have to vote one more time because we still have the main motion to vote on.
Okay. Folks, we are at 7 p.m. here. At this point, we could have a motion to close the debate. We could have to vote on it. We could have a motion to table the resolution, which I'm not exactly sure how soon they want to hear from GPSG with this resolution. So take with that what you will. I also don't know what your evenings are like. I don't want to keep you too long. Does anybody have a further motion that they'd like to make?
I would want to, I don't know if this is possible, Rio, you can tell me, but I think motion to change some of the wording and this because I don't think it's specifically written there that this 200 cap, it's gonna be over time. And I think people are getting confused with this whole $200 by next semester or et cetera. And I think if we put that there written, I don't know if that's even possible. Just one.
Since we're at 7 p.m., I think what we should do is move to table the resolution if folks are not in support of it. Yes, thank you, Quentin. Anybody second that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. I expect to hear me disregard.
Aye.
Okay. Nothing's going to beat that. So motion passes. We're tabling the resolution for right now. Everybody did great work on it. I'm going to say that it will be at the next meeting 2 weeks from now. We'll finish business, promise. There's an announcement here regarding the 3-minute thesis competition. It's going to be streamed live on Zoom on Wednesday, January 27th. More information there. Does anybody have a movement to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, I appreciate all your patience today. Motion passes. We are adjourned. See you all in 2 weeks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.